And each of the colors of the t-shirts on the clothesline represent a specific kind of person. The white t-shirts are in memory of those people who died as a result of being victims of domestic violence. The yellow and beige shirts represent women who are battered or assaulted, but they're still alive. Red, pink, and orange t-shirts are for survivors of rape and sexual assault. Blue and green t-shirts represent survivors of incest and other types of sexual abuse. Purple and lavender t-shirts represent women who are attacked because of their sexual orientation. And black is for women who are attacked for political reasons. So each of the colors on the t-shirt has a special significance in memory of victims.
As a Red Cross lady, I believe in making our community safer and better prepared. But today I come to you and speak to all of you simply as a woman, mother, and citizen. The truth is that we simply do not like to talk about domestic violence. The saddest truth is that we just don't. In terms of violent crime, domestic violence continues to be a very real and true tragedy for our society. The more we talk about domestic violence, the more we create an environment in which domestic violence victims feel able to report what is happening to them. The more chance we have of coming to grips with this sad ailment of our society. I am encouraged by the fact that women are reporting incidents of domestic violence in greater numbers, and that it is becoming clearer that women now have sufficient confidence in the police to report these incidents. We need to ask ourselves, is domestic violence against women a true reflection of our society? Let us hope not. I have a daughter, I have a granddaughter, sisters. Let us pledge here today that we will do our part to change this.
Hi, my name is Keikoa, and I was a victim of domestic violence. I am now a survivor. When I was 2.5 years old, my mom met George, my stepfather. My ex-stepfather, actually. I liked him at first, but I was just a small kid who just wanted to be loved. My brother Philip, standing next to Judy, was born a year after I turned 4, and then George changed. I noticed that he was meaner towards me, and he started to hit my mom in front of me. Things became worse as we got older and my sister Lily was born. My mom tried to shelter us, but she was also trying to keep a roof over our heads and feed us while George didn't seem to be helping much. I was 7 when we moved to the Imperial Valley. George started to hit and scream at me more. I can remember George hitting my mom and saying things to her that I felt wrong. George started to hit Philip when he was just 3. I can remember my mom running to us and covering us so George couldn't hit us. I was 9 when my mom had the stroke. George simply took all of us, Philip, Lily, and Danny, and myself, to the hospital to see our mom. We had no idea what really happened to her until our neighbor told us. George sent my mom to San Diego to recover, and he started doing drugs. I realize now that he's always been a drug abuser, but he started in front of us. Without my mom, we were alone. George's mom and dad lived across the street from us, but they weren't willing to really reach out to us. I started raising my little brother Danny the night after my mom had the stroke. I would go to him, I would bathe him, feed him, dress him, and my little brothers and sisters every morning before Philip and I would go to school. When my mom came home, things didn't get better. I think my mom's breaking point was when George punched me in the nose and broke it. My mom's friends took her to Judy's office and started to protect us. Judy Pritchard is no longer just a stranger to us. She is now part of our family. She is my Aunt Judy. She stuck with us through thick and thin. Believe me, things can get pretty thin sometimes. I honestly think about without Aunt Judy and the Center for Family Solutions, my family would not be here.
My name is Philip, and because I am the youngest here, I get to I get to be last. My story is different than Keikoa's because George is my father. People do not get to pick who their fathers are. Unfortunately, biologically, George is mine. When I was 9, George forced me to file a false police report against my mom. My mom and George were divorcing, and my mom had an order protecting us from George. The court granted George the right to have my sister Lily, Danny, and me visit him. Keikoa's dad is Mark, and he lives in Hawaii, so he did not have to go see George. The restraining order was granted him. One night when George had us at his mom's house, he told me I had to memorize his story. He tried to get Lily to do it, but he tried to get my sister to do it, but my sister fell asleep during a rocket launch. My sister could fall asleep during a rocket launch, so I told George not to hurt Lily, so she would stay awake, and I said I would do it, so he wanted to do what he wanted. I made the report the next day after my dad called the sheriff. George told the deputy that my brother, sister, and myself were in danger when we were with my mom. When George said I had to tell him the story he made up, I felt so bad after I lied to the deputy. George said that he would kill my mom and me if I didn't. I believed him because of everything that he had done before. George said I could not tell my mom, but she knew that something was wrong. I would not tell her because I was afraid. My mom had me talk to Dr. Cherlin and Peter Damano because she could not figure out what was wrong with me, what was going on. I still did not tell her. At that time, George scared me, and I wanted my mom to call. Cheryl Fowler from the Sheriff's Department called my mom. Miss Cheryl had been to see my mom a lot of times before this happened because of my dad. So when she heard of this story, she knew it was a lie. Miss Cheryl and my Aunt Judy talked to me at the Center for Family Solutions, and they promised they would be there for my family.
Not everyone is a survivor, and so at this time, I'd like to ask you if you will, together with me, observe a moment of silence in honor of those victims who have died at the hands of their abusers.